I bet you guessed it for this next one. Oh, isn't it beautiful? I love being able to use all my derivative skills again. I'm feeling a little rusty. I need a challenge. So, of course, I can rewrite this, which means, woohoo! I can bring down my power because it's only on the stuff after natural log. And so then when I take first derivative, I'll have 1/2. And for natural log, I'm supposed to take 1 over the stuff. That's going to be ugly. Times the derivative of the stuff. Another quotient rule. So low d high minus high d low all over low squared. Oh, look, look, look. It's going to make my nightmare go away because I have 1 down here and 2 there. And so now when I simplify, I still have the x plus 1 and an x minus 1 on bottom, here and here. And on top, I'll have x minus 1 minus x minus 1. Remember, I'm distributing here. And that'll simplify to -2. And then, of course, my 2's will cancel. Isn't it beautiful? You know, I almost feel like I cheated myself. This really was kind of easy. If I want to multiply those together, I could. I'd get an x squared minus 1. So -1 over x squared minus 1. And I also want to point out on this, in case anyone was thinking it, that after I powered down and I had this quotient, I could have split it. Right. So I would have had 1/2 natural log of x plus 1 minus natural log of x minus 1. And then I would have taken the derivative. So again, I'd have the half. It's just going to sit out in front. And then for this first one, I have to do 1 over, got a little carried away with my arrow. So 1 over the stuff times the derivative of the stuff, but that would be 1, minus 1 over the stuff times the derivative of the stuff, but that'll be 1. And then, of course, I'll have to get a common denominator. So this one's going to need an x minus 1, and this one's going to need an x plus 1. And then when I simplify it all out, guess what answer I get? OMG, no way. I still get the same thing. So, could have done it either way. So, same thing for this one. I could split because it's a quotient. And remember my natural log rules for absolute value. They work the same, with or without. And so I want 1, so y prime is 1 over the stuff times the derivative of the stuff, but the derivative of cosine is negative sine. And then we'll subtract. And then 1 over the stuff times the derivative of the stuff, but derivative of that, again, will be negative sine. And then I'm going to need common denominator. It's the only way I'm going to be able to combine them. So this one will need a cosine x minus 1 on top and bottom. and this one will need just a cosine x. Ooh, I feel a sweat coming on. And so when I distribute here, I'll have negative sine x cosine x plus sine x, distributing this negative at the same time over here. So I'm going to have plus sine x cosine x. Oh, I see some magic that's going to happen. And that's all going to be over cosine x times cosine x minus 1. And so my magic happens. Cancel, cancel. So I end up with just sine on top, and then cosine x minus 1 on bottom. That wasn't so bad. And then a little bit of solving. Remember, if e is in the exponent, we have to use logarithms to power it down. So I'm going to use natural log since that base is in e. And remember, once I put in natural log on both sides, I'll be able to power down. So I'll have 2x minus 5. Natural log of e, ooh, I know what that is. Natural log of 12. Of course, natural log of e, I know you know, is 1. So I have 2x minus 5. And then in order to get x by itself, of course, I'll add 5 and divide by 2. So I get x equals natural log of 12 plus the 5 and everything divided by 2. That's all review. And of course on this one, if I'm going to get rid of natural log, I can't have 2 of them. I'm only allowed to get rid of 1. So I notice they're joined by plus. So I say no problem. If it's plus, then it must have been multiplication to start with. And now the only way to get rid of natural log is to use its inverse, which is e to the, and these two take each other away. Off they go into Neverland. And so I have x squared minus 9 equals e to the 12th. I'll need a calculator for that, but I don't really care what it is at this point. So x squared, of course, I'll add 9 over. And then in order to get x by itself, I'll take the square root, which of course causes me to put in plus or minus. So I'll have x equals plus or minus the square root of e squared, e to the 12th, sorry, e to the 12th plus 9, and then I'll put it in my calculator and I get plus or minus 403.44. But remember, when I'm solving log problems, I cannot have log of a negative number, so I have to test by plugging it back in. And of course I can't keep the negative, I can only keep the positive. So final answer, locking it in, Alex, for the daily double is 403.44. See you in class, kids!